Hello, hello, happy Sunday. Now that CPU Centrals and Ontario Provincials have been announced, I have my entire competition plans for 2025 set up. My A7 package shows that it's going to be delivered today, so hopefully by the time I get back that's arrived and we can do a quick review. I have an exciting package. Let's start by calling a spade a spade. Powerlifting does not have the sexiest uniforms. Outside of all of your equipment, there's two things that go into a powerlifting uniform, if you want to call it that. There's your singlet and then there's your t-shirt. Now, like OG powerlifting days, these were the singlets. Like this old Inzer singlet, not the most attractive for women, but now that there's a lot more women competing, I think companies have realized they need to innovate. Currently, the main outfit providers are SBD and A7. I know Gymshark came out with a singlet a while back, and it's too bad that it's sold out and they haven't restocked it because it's pretty accessible for first-time powerlifters, meaning like, you know, not crazy price point. And it's super simple, right? Like most first-time powerlifters, or at least me, I just wanted like a full black outfit. Even when some of these brands have tried to innovate in the past by adding like pink singlets or purple singlets, the design just still isn't, it's not flattering. Like, you know how with athleisure companies have innovated so much, there's so much contouring, compressive parts. Yeah, powerlifting hasn't done that yet. And a large reason for that is when you're a raw powerlifter, you can't get any assistance from your singlet. Meaning like if there's any sort of compression, it could be deemed as like helping you lift more. And because you're a raw powerlifter, they basically just want, I'm pretty sure like cotton or like a cotton polyester blend for pretty much like everything that you're gonna wear. So while the rules might not leave a ton of space for these companies to innovate with compression and all that stuff, you can do a lot of work on contouring just using patterns and colors. Anyway, that's my little rant about powerlifting meet kits. Let's take a trip back to my first powerlifting meet. So like most intro powerlifters, I wanted the cheapest singlet possible. I was like, bro, I've already spent all this money on like knee sleeves and shoes. I don't want to drop like $150, $200 on a singlet. So I'm scrolling through the IPF handbook, and they also have an approved list of equipment. So you can see every single brand, every single product that's approved to be used in competition. And when I scroll to the very bottom, I find this brand new company that's been approved last year called Powerlifting Motivation. I'm like, this is so random. I've never heard of them before. So I found out that they're a European company, and even with like shipping and conversion rates, the singlet was still like half the price of what I could buy on any other site. And it wasn't even just the price. SBD was completely sold out of their fully black meet kit. I hated all the ones that were in stock. And then here you have this like super cheaply priced singlet in all black, which is what I wanted. So I ordered it, and I actually used it for my first two meets with an A7 meet shirt underneath, which was also just black. I'll just show you guys. So this is the Powerlifting Motivation singlet. Honestly, it would probably go a little sheer if you stretched it out. It's an extremely thin fabric. I wonder what the fabric is. Wow, it doesn't even tell you the fabric components. Anyways, I don't know what this is actually made out of, but it definitely feels more like an athletic fabric. And hey, it's stretchy, it fits, it's super simple. Like there's literally nothing else to it. It's just a black singlet. But the problem is, look how short it is. Extremely short. For the girlies, some girlies might prefer the short look, but it can actually screw you in competition, which it did on my second meet. Because it's so high, the bottom of your glutes, literally, I'm pretty sure mine were hanging out a little bit. It's disadvantageous, specifically on the bench. So I kept getting called that my glutes weren't 50% on the bench for my bench press, and they literally were. It's just that my singlet was riding up so hard that it looked like it was just my hamstring that was on the bench, when really it was my glute. Because of that, for my third meet, my coach borrowed a singlet from someone else, and this was my first time getting to try the SBD singlet. Like, I wasn't a super big fan of the look. Like I had navy blue knee sleeves on, and then like a black t-shirt, and then like a red and white singlet. It was, you know, a mishmash of a lot of colors, but I will say it felt much higher quality than this singlet. The length of it was longer, so it actually came down like a few inches onto my quad. So I was in the clear when it came to bench press using that singlet. So anyways, back to modern day, I decided to try a new singlet, and I'm gonna review it for you. A7 recently redesigned their singlet. I've heard good things about it. I've heard that the material is different, that it's a little bit more grippy. And to be honest, I just really liked this color. I am straying away from the black, but not by a long shot. This is a gray meet kit.
I immediately know I made the right call with the colorways. I'm a big fan, but I can tell that the fabric is a little different from my old meat shirt, so I need to compare the two side by side to see why.
So you can see like lengthwise, it definitely is a little bit shorter, but that's probably just a function of me shrinking it in the dryer. Ooh, okay, so yes, it does look like they changed the blend. This is 95% cotton, 5% spandex. So I guess they switched the spandex to elastane. This does feel like it has more of like a cooling effect. This is more like a true cotton, a heavier weight t-shirt. Okay, so far so good. I need to try this on to really know.
Okay, right off the bat, I have a lot of room in this. Now, I followed the exact size chart on their page, and even if I had technically lost 10 pounds and been in the 63 kilo class, I still apparently would be a medium. And there's just no fucking way. That's why it's really hard when powerlifting brands make their size guides based on your weight class. A 5'8", 69 kilo female is gonna look a lot different from a 5'2", 69 kilo female. So I don't see how we would fit into the same singlet.
But I'll be so for real, guys, they nailed it out of the park with this design. Everything that I just mentioned about how you can contour using color and shape, they did here. They gave you that hourglass shape just by doing this contour on the sides that comes out to the back a little bit. Another massive win is that they overcame the problem of singlets riding up on the quads.
They line the bottom with silicone, so A, it stays on your skin.
Now, I'm not sure if this is like new to A7. They might have had this feature before, but it is new to me and I'm a fan.
I could also pull this down like that much more.
Because they changed this fabric, the seams don't dig in at all. It feels like almost they created some extra room at the seams, which is helpful, I think, specifically if you're someone who holds more fat there.
Overall, I'm pretty satisfied with it. Definitely the style and the functionality works for me. I think that the one thing you should watch out for is just the size guide if you are a taller girly. I also will say the fabric on both the shirt and the singlet is extremely stretchy, so there's just less risk of it being too tight if you do size down. I found the SBD Phoenix, the one I showed you earlier, to be a really stiff fabric, dare I say cardboardy, but the A7 Luno is quite literally the opposite. It's really, really flexible, maybe too flexible. If you're looking for kind of an in-between, A7 claims that their other singlet style, which they call the Roush singlet, has a bit more compression, so that might be interesting to check out.
I do wish I would have sized down, but I think in the long run it's better that I sized up. Realistically, I will likely grow into the larger weight classes as I progress in the sport, and I honestly don't plan on buying another singlet in the near future, so I'm really happy that at least the design of this one worked out for me. Thanks for tuning in, and if you have any questions, make sure you leave them down below. See you next time.